What a backdrop. What a place to be talking about this story. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about how I made over $1 million from social media without having a big following. And I think that that is actually the common misconception that I see most people have, is thinking that you need to have a big following online in order to turn it into a business. So in this video, I want to break down a little bit about my story, my background, how I did it, what frameworks that we used, a little bit about the background that I came from, which was barbering, and where we're going next. So my name is Eoin. I am now an online business coach. I used to work in the barbering industry, but before that, I came from a pro cycling background. So I'm a failed pro cyclist. I used to do the whole lot: shaved legs, spandex, lycra, the whole thing. And when I finished there, I started in hair. My mother is a hairdresser. And from the early days, I was inspired by Gary V, right? So I came across Gary's content even when I was cycling. And I knew when I was a cyclist that it was content that was going to be the thing that actually separated me from anybody else, because I wasn't the most talented person. I wasn't the most talented cyclist, but I knew I had to differentiate myself somehow. So I did it through my content, and that was through storytelling and having teams get to know me through my content, which eventually ended up building me a brand, right? So another thing that I actually don't fundamentally agree with is this whole concept and idea of building a personal brand. I think we're actually more in the revealing of a personal brand era of business and of life. You know, the idea of making $1 million online or more, even any dollar online, if you want anybody to spend money with you online, it's trust that is going to do it. And how do you build that trust? You build it through consistency, and you build it through valuable content and letting people know you, creating videos exactly like this, which I've been doing since, I don't even know, 2011 probably, when I first started going after my pro cycling career. So when I finished up in cycling, I started cutting hair. I'm from a very small town in Ireland, 6,000 people, and I had been away since I was 17, so this was 21. I grew the business very, very quickly. I went from €0 to €1,000 a week, and after that I actually decided to move to Australia to pursue a career in Melbourne. One thing led to another. We have another video that tells the whole story. You'll find the link to that below in the description. But I ended up starting multiple education companies off the back of the content that I was actually sharing on social media, believe it or not. When I was in the barbershop, I went from making $1,000 a week to now, for the last 3 years, making over $1,000 a day in my online business. And I haven't cut hair for 2 years. So that's my background and my context. And now what I want to do is share how I did that so that you guys and anybody who joins our mentorship program can do the same in their lives. So I think social media has a bit of a bad rap. I think if you look to the past, people used to use Facebook and Instagram just to share pictures of their dinner and things that they were doing on the weekend with their friends, and so that their family could keep up with what they were doing. But now anyone who uses social media knows what kind of a marketplace that it actually is. You know, the cold DMs are going absolutely crazy. Every day I wake up to 10, 20, 30 messages from absolute strangers who have no credibility whatsoever to be sending a message and asking and demanding money from me. And I'm sure you are the same when you go into those message requests. And that, my friend, is not the way to go about it in 2025, in my opinion. So the old way of operating is people used to use social media in a way just to share things that they were doing in their personal life, whereas now you can turn that into a business very, very quickly. And the biggest misconception of all is that you need a big following. I know people, and I am one of them, who have made a lot of money from a small amount of followers or a small amount of people. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. It's about who is following you and how much do they actually trust you. And then it's actually having a good product and service on the other side of that trust to be able to actually convert them into a client. So we have a framework, and I'll get into that very shortly. But first I want to just talk a little bit about what's coming up We went from the industrial model, which is work hard, boots on the streets, to now the digital age, which we're entering into, where anybody can actually make money online. Some of the richest people that I know have less than 1,000 followers on Instagram, and they make a lot of money. And we, in our business, have even made over $10,000 from posts with less than 10 likes. I'll tell you a funny story. So when we were in the hair education game, we had a 3-day course. Now each ticket to that 3-day course was about $3,000. And one time we put up a post that got about 10 likes, but we sold 3 tickets from the back of that post, which is the equivalent of $9,000 to $10,000, depending on what type of payment plan that somebody went on. But you see, the thing is, it actually wasn't that post that sold that program. And if we look at the span of all of our posts, myself and my business partner Lee, we have about 5,000, maybe 6,000 posts each on our Instagrams. It's the equivalent of 6.5 to 7 years on my profile and just a year less on Lee. So it's over 10 years. It's about 10 or 11 years of posting every single day if you were to actually average it out. But I can attribute most of the money that we've made online, which is somewhere in the ballpark of $1 to $1.5 million in the online space, to about 10 posts. But it wasn't actually those 10 posts that made us all that money. It was all of the other ones that built the trust up to those 10, and then the right signal just went off to the right ears, and it converted people into clients. So over the years, of course, there's a lot of trial and error. We now prefer to operate in the model of test and measure. We threw a lot of spaghetti at the wall. We've tried a lot of things, but now we've actually systemized it. So that's hard work. You can use guesswork, or you can actually package things up and use it as framework. So the framework that we've come up with is the unlimited model. And the unlimited model is a model that is designed to plug into anyone's business or life. And the way that I look at things is that your business is your life, and that your life is your business. I don't like this whole I'm not a business person. Well, if you're not a business person, you're not a life person, because your business is what supports your life. And as you can tell, here we are in Bali. I've lived here for over a year. When I first started out cutting hair, I would have never imagined that I'd be doing things like this. But the online space has opened up opportunities like this for me in order to live an unlimited life, to do whatever I want. On a random Friday, we just decided, hey, you know what? Let's go to Ubud and film some videos in the jungle. And this is the exact video that you're watching right now. So if you want to do that in your life, the unlimited model, it works for most businesses. We've been using it and trialing it and testing it. It's proven with barbers right now. But anyone who's listening to this, if you're a creative, if you're a coach, if you run a digital media agency, whatever it is, this model will work, I guarantee you. So the model looks a little bit like this. In the middle, what we have is the goal, the unlimited life. We need 3 things in order to live an unlimited life. We need money, we need to make impact, and we need to have freedom built into it. Without one of the 3, you can't have an unlimited life. You can have money and you can make impact, but if you don't have freedom, you won't feel unlimited. You can make impact with the work that you do, and you can have freedom, but if you don't have money and you're broke, you're in a bit of a tricky situation as well. And you can have the freedom, but if you don't have money and you don't make impact, then you're also in big trouble, right? Because you just can't do anything. We need all 3 in order to live an unlimited life. So how do we do that? We use a very simple system called attract, retain or convert, and deliver. So it's 3 sides. We'll put a little visual on the screen here for you as to what it looks like. We work backwards when we build it, but I'll explain it in forward motion. So first and foremost, we need to attract people into our businesses or our lives or towards our brand. And we do that through sharing stories, sharing personal stories, sharing who we are, sharing long form videos just like this one, and putting content out to the world, right? So if you have a business and you want to attract ideal clients, that's going to help you do that. If you have team and you want to attract great team, you have to share your stuff for people to know that you exist, first of all, but it also has to be attractive enough that people are coming to you and you're not chasing after them like all of those people in the cold DMs these days. That just screams desperate to me. And watch, I'm going to make a big call here right now. What's going to happen once those people have actually messaged everybody? What then? big trouble is what I say is then, because they're going to run out of people to message, right? So, and reputation is everything, and that ultimately is what brand is. It's your reputation. Do people trust you? And you should protect that at all costs. So attract. What we then want to do is either retain people if we have a coaching program or a barbershop or whatever it is. Most of your money and business will come from retention. And if you're running an online business like ours, what we want to do is convert people. So that means take them through a sales process and actually just serve them up with something that they need. And that is the main thing. It's not all just about making the sale. It's about actually serving people and giving them value. Then the last piece of the model is building a delivery system. Having a really good plan, developing systems, and actually choosing a model that grows, because a lot of business models in the modern day actually grow into pain. And something that I've been sitting with through the week this week is like, why is it that most people don't grow their business? And I think it's because they actually don't want to, because they know it's inevitable that it's going to grow into pain. It just looks like more hard work, more hours. It's really important that you get that right from the beginning. But all in all, if I was to look back at what has made the biggest difference in me, making over $1 million in the online space without having a huge following, you might look at it now and think it's huge, but where that money has come from has been from less than 100 people, I would imagine. I need to do the exact maths, but it would have been from less than 100 people, maybe even less than 50 people. So you don't need a big following to get started. You don't need a big following to make money online. You just need to build trust, and you need to actually show up as your authentic self, have something great to offer people, something that you can serve people with, and something that works for you and the life that you want to live. So that's essentially what I did. When I started out, I wasn't really sure on where everything was going to go, where it was going to land, where I was going to end up. I for sure didn't think I was going to end up here, like I was just saying. But what I did know was important was that if I started sharing who I was, sharing what I was about, sharing my philosophies, showing up online, listening to smart people and putting myself in rooms with smart people, not just listening to them online. That's where I started, and that's a great place to start. Gary Vee was a massive influence of mine, people like Stephen Bartlett, all of those people. Then I actually started to invest in coaching. I actually went down the road of spending $50,000 on a coach, got into that world, and that's kind of opened up all of the other different coaching opportunities and environments that I'm currently in. And, being in rooms with smart people has accelerated my growth tenfold. At the time when I made that $50,000 investment, I was only making about $50,000 a year in the barbershop. Like I was just saying, working 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week to take home $1,000. And now, since, we've been making over $1,000 a day for the last 3 years in our business. And funnily enough, this month in our business, we're about to approach the revenue figure that I used to make per year in the barbershop because of the power of the online space, the thing that you're looking at through the screen right now. And the reason that I'm sharing that with you is because I know through the framework that I was explaining that it's possible for you too. You just have to want it. So if you're somebody who has a skill and you're somebody who has an audience, and it doesn't mean you need to have a big audience, because I also know a lot of people with big audiences online who don't make a lot of money. They have no idea on how to monetize it. I see people with 100,000 followers plus and no idea how to monetize their audience. A big audience doesn't mean a great life either. So if you're someone, again, with a skill, with an audience, which means people that know you, it's very easy in the modern world to turn that into a great product or offer and create a life of money, impact, and freedom. And that's what we like to call the unlimited way. So if you're somebody who wants more out of life, you know that you're capable of more, you might feel a little bit stuck, you don't know where to go next, you're losing direction, but you know that you're talented, you know you're skilled, you know that you have something to offer, but you just don't know how to package it up and actually sell it to people and serve people, just reach out. We'd love to have a conversation, we'd love to chat. If not, just subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more videos like this. I'm going to be sharing more in-depth business insights, and we also have an email newsletter where we send out regular emails for people just like you to learn how to do essentially what we did. So all we're ever sharing is what's worked for us, what's working right now, and how we've done what we're doing, living in places like this, beautiful tropical paradises. And guys, Life doesn't have to look like a 9 to 5. Life doesn't have to look like being stuck behind a barber chair for 40 to 50 hours a week. You're talented enough to figure this out. But most of the time, it's a belief thing. And you don't have to believe right now. You just have to sometimes borrow somebody else's until it's time for you to actually step up and believe in yourself. So off the back of this video, I would implore you to just go away and write down, what does an unlimited life look like for you? If you could do anything, what would you do? What skills do you have, and who would you like to serve? And what way would you like to show up in the world in 2025 and beyond?